This evening, first, a major legal decision is put on hold as the court delays its ruling on the extradition fight involving opposition leader Azruddin Mohamed and his father. What's at stake and what happens next? Plus, tensions rise at GCOM as opposition-nominated commissioners push back against calls to vacate their seats following a shift in political leadership. Also, the government says massive road investments are cutting travel time, lowering business costs, and reshaping trade across Guyana. Meanwhile, a warning from CANU as cartoon-style packaging linked to illegal drugs raises concerns about children and online sales. And in Venezuela, one industry keeps running despite economic strain, but manufacturer says recovery remains out of reach. Those stories and more coming up. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for February 2nd, 2026. I'm Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, the fate of U.S. indicted leader of the opposition Azruddin Mohamed and his father Nazar Mohamed hang in the balance as Guyana's acting Chief Justice postpones a ruling in their high-profile extradition challenge. Acting Chief Justice Narendra Singh has postponed his ruling on the constitutional challenge and judicial review filed by the U.S. indicted businessmen seeking to block their extradition to the United States. The ruling, which was scheduled for delivery on Monday, February 2nd, has been deferred to February 9th. However, no reason was given for the postponement. The father and son duo are challenging sections of Guyana's Fugitive Offenders Act. They are asking the court to quash the Minister of Home Affairs' decision to issue the authority to proceed with their extradition. Their lawyers have argued that the process was tainted by actual and apparent bias, citing alleged political influence. The state has rejected those claims, maintaining that the minister's role is administrative and that all legal requirements are properly met. The United States formally submitted the extradition request on October 30, 2025, under the Ghana-United Kingdom Extradition Treaty. The U.S. Treasury sanctioned the Mohameds in June 2024, and they face 11 criminal charges in the U.S. Southern District of Florida, including money laundering and fraud linked to gold exports. Meanwhile, the substantive extradition proceedings continue before the Georgetown Magistrates Court on February 5th and 6th. The Mohameds remain on $150,000 bail each. They have surrendered their passports and are required to report weekly to the Rimesville police station as the extradition proceedings continue. Moving on, just days after a shift in opposition leadership, PNCR-appointed GCOM commissioners have drawn a firm line, rejecting a request from opposition leader Azruddin Mohamed to discuss their positions on the elections body. The opposition-nominated commissioners of the Ghana Elections Commission have rejected a request by the opposition leader to meet with them to discuss their status on the commission. In a letter dated January 31st, 2026, Commissioners Vincent Alexander, Desmond Trotman, and Charles Corbin said there was no basis for a meeting on the issue, noting that they were aware of public calls by Mohamed and his We Invest in Nationhood party for their resignation. The commissioners said that while they were prepared to engage Mohamed or his representatives on all matters relating to GCOM's work, their status as commissioners could only be determined through legislative or judicial processes. Mohamed had requested the meeting to discuss, among other issues, the possible vacation of their seats following his election as leader of the opposition. The three commissioners are nominees of the People's National Congress Reform, which previously held the opposition leadership. Mohamed has argued that with WIN now the main opposition party, new commissioners should be appointed to represent it at GCOM. He has also cited concerns about the fitness of the current commissioners. The GCOM commissioners proposed that any initial engagement be held at a neutral venue and reiterated that due process must be followed in addressing any changes to the commission's composition. On a different note, the government's ongoing investment in road infrastructure is significantly reducing travel time for goods and services, helping businesses lower costs and improve competitiveness. This is according to Minister within the Ministry of Public Works. Speaking on the National Communications Network on Saturday, Mandalal Ramraj said, Improved roadworks are allowing farmers and manufacturers to reach markets faster, reducing spoilage and increasing the economic value of products.
Investment in these infrastructure allows for a strengthening of the physical link between Guyana's region, turning separate communities into one integrated national space. Improve highway, hinterland, connect the coast to the hinterland, agricultural regions to the port, mining and forestry to processing centers, urban centers to rural communities. It means then that goods and services can move freely from one region, and in Guyana from region 1 to 10. It reduces isolation, it supports social integration, it makes economic activity possible in areas that was previously excluded or hard to reach, and there's strong regional connection. Also position Guyana as a more reliable logistics corridor within the wider Caribbean and the South America region.
He noted that Guyana's expanding, more reliable road system has strengthened international trade, particularly export moving through ports and airports. Ramraj highlighted increased cross-border trade with Brazil along the Linden-Mabura Road, attributing this growth to improved road conditions.
One of the immediate benefits is the transportation costs, right? When you have this kind of building this network, it reduces transportation costs. The travel of goods and services is shortened. The farmers and manufacturers reach the market faster. You're able to avoid spoilage. So the economic value of your produce is increased. Small businesses gain access to new consumers. And so these are, in a nutshell, some of the benefits of it. Internationally, if I can move on, internationally, reliable road networks support export to ports and airports. And a typical example is the Brazil, Guyana coming through the road, the Linden-Mabura Road. We have seen so much of trade coming through because of the improved the road itself.
The enhanced infrastructure is also facilitating the movement of key exports, including rice, sugar, timber, and seafood. According to Ramraj, better logistics are making Guyana more attractive to investors who depend on efficient transportation networks. He added that the government, in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture, will continue to upgrade farm-to-market routes, noting that ongoing roadworks are opening hundreds of acres of farmland and supporting continued growth in the agriculture sector. Stick around when we return. Minister Edghill assures bridge staff of job security amid infrastructure transition, and CANU warns against online sale of drug packaging targeting youth.
Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl, forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Minister of Public Works, Bishop Edghill, has reassured employees of both the Old Demerara Harbour Bridge and the existing Mackenzie Wismer Bridge and Region Fund that their jobs are secure as the government undertakes major bridge transition projects. At a meeting with the Demerara Harbour Bridge staff, Minister Edgehill emphasized that workers would be reassigned within the ministry based on their skills and qualifications with no demotions or salary reductions. Several employees will join the Work Services Group, while others will be placed in the Transport and Harbour Department, the Guyana National Shipping Corporation, or the Ministry's Special Projects Unit for technical staff. Separate teams will manage operations at the Sand Hills to Mary Bridge and the Legwan-Wakenham link, incorporating components of the existing Demerara Harbour Bridge into new alignments. Wayne Watson will continue as Director General of the Demerara Harbour Bridge, overseeing operations at the new Barrajaglio-Demerara River Bridge. During a separate meeting with Mackenzie Wismer Bridge staff, Minister Edgehill assured employees that they would be employed by the Ministry of Public Works when the bridge is completed by June of 2026. Staff were advised not to panic and were reassured that there would not be loss of salary or benefits during the transition. The minister emphasized that the priority is retaining workers while aligning them with roles that best suit their skills, ensuring a smooth transition as the country's bridge infrastructure undergoes major upgrades. In other news, cartoon designs normally meant to attract children are now at the center of a narcotics warning, as CANU flags their growing use in illegal drug packaging sold online. The Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit has raised concerns over online advertisements promoting cartoon-themed 1-gram Ziploc bags commonly used in packaging and sales of illicit narcotics, including cannabis and synthetic drugs. In his statement, CANU said the items are widely recognized by law enforcement as materials used in the packaging and distribution of illegal drugs at the street level. The agency warned that the sale, possession, or use of such packaging in connection with narcotics is illegal under Guyanese law and could lead to criminal prosecution. CANU expressed particular alarm over the use of cartoon and candy-like designs, noting that these increase the risk of exposure and harm to children and young people. The agency also reminded vendors and the public that online platforms, including social media marketplaces, are actively monitored as part of the intelligence-led operations. CANU urged individuals to immediately cease sales, purchase, or distribution of these items for illicit purposes, and encourage members of the public to report suspicious online drug-related activities anonymously. The unit reaffirmed its commitment to disrupting drug distribution networks and preventing narcotics from reaching homes, schools, and other vulnerable communities. Don't go away after the break. Nigeria's lavish wedding boom pushes families into debt while vendors cash in. And nearly 200 killed in escalating violence in Pakistan's Balochistan.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Our smalls make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services. 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Dominic Kittins. Tonight, a UN report says nearly 6,000 people were killed in Haiti last year amid worsening insecurity. Venezuela's printing industry struggles to survive. Deadly violence surges in Pakistan, Balochistan province, and rising wedding costs reshape family life in Nigeria. We begin in Haiti. Nearly 6,000 people were killed and more than 2,700 injured in Haiti in 2025 amid widespread insecurity, according to the United Nations Integrated Office in Haiti. The UN reported 1,523 deaths in the final quarter alone. While gangs failed to expand control in Port-au-Prince, abuse continued nationwide, including killings, kidnapping, and attacks on rural communities. The report also raised concern over vigilante violence, foreign support security operations, and civilian casualties from airstrikes. Venezuela's printing industry remains among the few sectors still active after years of economic instability, relying entirely on imported materials from Europe, Brazil, and the United States. Whilst interim President Delcy Rodriguez has announced $300 million in oil sales and pledged economic revival through foreign investments, manufacturers reported they are not yet seeing conditions necessary for expansion or new hiring. Al Jazeera's Norris Soto reports.
Machines power up and paper move through the presser at this printing factory in Caracas. As workers settle for another day, it's a reminder that the printing and graphic arts industry is among the few that have managed to stay active after years of economic instability in Venezuela. Here, staying open doesn't just mean working, it means endurance.
There have been very difficult situations. We handle only imported materials. All the materials we use are imported from Europe, Brazil, and the US. And the issue of payments, due to sanctions and the overcompliance imposed by banks, was very challenging for us.
Interim President Delcy Rodriguez has spoken of an economic revival linked to oil exports and foreign investment. Recently, she announced that the government had earned $300 million in oil sales. But some manufacturers say they aren't seeing the signals they need to hire and expand, so new investments remain on hold. Some longtime workers, like Enira Aponte, who has been working at this factory for 15 years, say they feel lucky to have been able to keep their jobs and continue to grow despite the crisis.
Regarding this crisis we've experienced, I've always felt supported, and I feel that I gave all my support when all the talents we had started leaving. Very few people remained, and we had to take on tasks that others used to do. But for me, that was never a limitation. Instead, it was an opportunity to learn something new.
Many business owners say that they are waiting for some level of economic certainty and legal clarity about changes in commercial law.
The expectations are very high. The industrial sector is regaining some enthusiasm thanks to the announcements made by the executive branch, the amendment to the hydrocarbons law, and the creation of funds abroad aimed at bringing more dynamism to the currency exchange situation.
Workers like Enira hope that this transition will bring more jobs and opportunities for the industrial sector in general.
I'm very excited because healthy competition will return, which is what is needed, and it will come back. Seeing that investment being made to become a company like ours again, one that invested when no one else was, is really inspiring.
While global attention is still fixed on Venezuela's new leadership, small businesses remain overlooked, as attempts are made to revive a deteriorating economy after years of political turmoil. Norris Soto, Al Jazeera, Caracas.
Pakistan say almost 200 people, including 31 civilians, have been killed in a series of attacks and counterattacks across the southwestern province of Balochistan. Al Jazeera's Kamal Haider reports.
An audacious attack by the Baloch Liberation Army across 12 different locations across this province, which is Pakistan's largest province area-wise. Now, the attackers were also able to strike at the heart of the provincial capital, Quetta. Armed fighters were able to enter not just into the city, but also blocked major highways, stopping traffic in its tracks. The casualties are high. As you can see, this is the remains of a police vehicle that was torched by the attackers. Several security forces personnel, including policemen and civilians, have been killed.
They want us to surrender. We will not. This country is ours. This is our motherland. We'll fight for it.
It must be understood that the Baloch Liberation Army was a banned group by the United States in 2006 and categorized as a terrorist outfit. The Baluch Liberation Army has stepped up attacks against Pakistani security forces over the past few months. The United Nations and even China has raised alarm, saying that the Afghan government needs to tackle these outfits who are working from Afghan soil. Pakistan has also complained to Afghanistan for not doing enough to stop these groups from operating out of Afghan soil. The city of Quetta is at a standstill.
No one is safe. Anyone who leaves home has no certainty of returning safe and sound. There is a constant fear over whether they will come back unharmed. Business was already slow due to the cold weather, and when such incidents occur, chaos follows, forcing people to shut their shops and return home.
This is not the first time that the city has come under attack, but it is by far one of the deadliest. Kamal Haider, Al Jazeera, Quetta.
Social pressure, culture, and inflation have made weddings expensive in Nigeria, causing families to go into debt. But it's also creating profitable businesses. Al Jazeera Ahmed Idris reports.
Bright lights, expensive fabrics, and a lavishly decorated events hall. In CANU, northern Nigeria's largest city, marriage these days has become more than a rite of passage. It's now a major economic transaction. For many, it's no longer just about getting married. It's about putting on a show with matching outfits, expensive halls, and a long list of vendors to pay.
It pays a lot because there's a lot of stages going through the event. I wouldn't do any other business. This has been my passion for a long time, and Alhamdulillah, I'm good at it.
The wedding industry supports thousands: tailors, caterers, photographers, decorators, and even social media influencers, all cashing in on a culture where appearance matters. For many families these days, the price of saying I do now runs into thousands of dollars. In the past, a few $100s would have been enough. Away from this lavish celebration, some couples choose to hold a low-key event without the extra costs.
Two couples are getting married here, but there are three essential components to validate a marriage: a dowry, representatives of the bride and groom, and witnesses. But in some situations, the couple are forced to celebrate the wedding in a grand way, costing a lot more money.
Local leaders are worried that society has now turned weddings into competition.
According to an Islamic teaching, wedding should be very simple. Because since it is a contract between two parts.
But in CANU, where society rarely accepts simple, the real cost of a wedding may not be the food or the fabric, but the debt some families may carry long after their guests have gone home. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, CANU, Northern Nigeria.
Thanks, Dominic. This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-Duet forecast. And that's it with the headline news for this Monday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.